Hello and welcome to Project Freelance. I'm your host, Kay Anagonio, and this podcast is all about freelancing, whether you're a photographer, entrepreneur of any kind, musician, filmmaker, graphic designer, whatever you do that lies in the freelancing world, this podcast is for you. This week I'm speaking with Mr. Rolzay. He is a graphic designer and 3D artist. He does a lot of visual art, and he has gotten into NFTs, non-fungible tokens. We're going to be diving into what that means, what that is, and how you can get involved this week on Project Freelance. I'm super excited to talk to Mr. Rolzay. He is based out of Ireland. He's from Latvia originally, and I love talking with people overseas because they have a little bit of a different insight into this freelancing world. Things work a little bit differently over there. So super excited about this episode, but before we get into it, there's a few housekeeping things I want to let you know about. The first of which being, I have a book out, a photography book called No Tracers, an Urban Explorer's Diary. If you are into abandoned places or really cool photography and crazy stories, check out notracers.com. You can pick up a copy of my book and I'll sign it for you, or you can pick up a photo print, a snapback, or you can just read my blog and see my photos and videos of my urban explorations. Other than that, if you guys are not investing your money into cryptocurrency, you are losing out on a great opportunity. So join us. There is a way to get started today. You can join Coinbase. There is an affiliate link down in the description that will give you $10 of Bitcoin once you sign up and make your first deposit in Coinbase. And if you would like to get started investing in the stock market, Webull is going to give you 2 free stocks when you sign up and deposit $100 or more into your account. There's a link down in the description. Be sure to use that. Thank you guys for doing so. The last thing I need to let you know about is that we have a partner here on this podcast, and that is Liquid Death Water. If you've never heard of Liquid Death Water, well, don't worry. I've got an ad coming for you in 3, 2, 1. From the streams of the Austrian Alps comes a new kind of water. A water that is sure to raise you from your grave. If you're tired of buying cases of plastic water bottles that contain carcinogens and God knows what else, or if you're trying to lower your waste footprint, Liquid Death comes in beautifully rugged aluminum cans. Murder your thirst with a can of Liquid Death. Check the link in the description and use code JUSTTHELETTERK at checkout for 10% off your order. Liquid Death. Murder your thirst. So if you would like 10% off your order of Liquid Death water, go to liquiddeath.com and use code JUSTTHELETTERK. You can order 1 case, you can order 30 cases. I see you guys ordering 30 cases of water. That's fantastic. And using my affiliate code, I appreciate that a ton. Liquid Death appreciates it, and the world appreciates it. Thank you guys. If you're a new listener, please hit that subscribe button. If you've been listening for a while, please do me a favor and leave a rating and feedback at the bottom of Apple Podcasts under the Project Freelance podcast, and I will actually send you a signed photo print for doing that. Thank you guys. All right, Mr. Rolzay, please introduce yourself and what it is you do to the Project Freelance audience.
Yeah, so my name is Roland, and I'm currently living in Ireland. I'm originally from Latvia. I basically moved to Ireland in 2008, just when I finished high school. So I've been kind of living in and out of Ireland ever since. So the way I kind of got into freelancing was it was kind of uh, forcefully because of the whole thing that's been going around in the world right now. I kind of I basically graduated from college in 2019, so I'm still kind of relatively new to the whole industry thing. But basically, when I graduated, I was obviously looking for my first job, and I was emailing like literally every single studio I could in Dublin. And no one was able to offer me any jobs. So just one day, I just sat down and thought, let me just start kind of emailing studios in London and see what happens. And then I kind of got lucky. I got a job in London in a studio, so I worked there for about 3 months. And then obviously COVID happened, and it literally couldn't have happened at like any worse time. But turns out it was actually for the better. I obviously lost the job. So I had to move back to Ireland. But it like turns out it was obviously for the best. Because I kind of got forced into freelancing, because I've been living at home now, and I you know had to make money somehow, like, so I wasn't gonna be like sitting around just doing nothing. So I basically started freelancing. I updated my website during the summer of 2020. So I kind of really started to take things seriously, because like before I was always kind of just kind of messing around, taking a few jobs here and there, nothing too major. But obviously now it's I'm taking it like really seriously. Um, so I've been doing that for about like since like last summer approximately. Yeah.
Wow. So take me into your education background a little bit more. What did you study in school, and do you think that it helped you in your freelancing life?
Yeah, so basically I studied graphic design in college. Um, and I think, yeah, I mean, I think it did help kind of, um, college was there to basically learn the fundamentals of good design. Uh, but like ever since I graduated college, I think I've kind of moved away from like traditional design. Obviously, when I was working in the studio, all I did was like branding and your kind of typical graphic design. But now since I focus more on 3D, um that's kind of I'm kind of like going like trying like going away from design more and more, more like every day. But I think the fundamentals that I learned in college have definitely like stayed, and they do help me kind of make decisions in like certain aspects, such as like like you need to know, yeah, yeah, like good typography, good like composition skills, and um, color science, and stuff like that. And um, I think college was also helpful to kind of build connections, I suppose, and also improve my communication skills, because I was always one of those people that like I was just like shitting myself every time I had to like basically talk in front of people. Back then I'd never be able to like jump on a podcast or whatever. So like, yeah, I mean, college just kind of made me flourish a bit, if that makes sense, kind of. Yeah, because I was a bit of a shy guy before, but then it kind of, I think it opened up my character a bit more, and kind of made me like really realize what I want to do in life, and kind of made me um basically told me that like I made the right decision when I got into this whole design thing.
Yeah, and for you, like, why'd you choose graphic design? What made you choose this field? You could have done a number of things, I'm sure, but what made you get into graphic design in the first place?
I was actually lucky. I got in design college. I got super lucky. Um, the reason why I took the reason why I chose graphic design is because I was actually doing IT before, like like computers and web design and programming and that kind of stuff. So I basically have 2 degrees. So I did that before I got into graphic design. Um, but the reason why I did the first course was because basically when I just moved over to Ireland, I was still kind of like really super shy. So I did 2 years of secondary school in Ireland, and then I finished the school, and I had like a handful of friends, and I wasn't really sure what I wanted to do really. So I basically just asked my one of my buddies, like, what does he want to do, like, and I just kind of always knew that I wanted to do something with computers, but I wasn't really sure. So I just literally just took the course that he was doing without even like looking too much into it. Like, it just such a stupid decision. Like, um, so I did the course for like, I think it was like 4 years. Yeah, I finished the whole 4 years basically. And I think it was only like in third year that I really realized that like this is not what I want to do. Because I just think I've always been like a creative person, like and during that course, they were trying like there weren't really any kind of creative possibilities in that course. It was literally all coding and back end of the stuff. There was no front end. There was no creativity there. Like even some of the projects that I worked on, I tried to kind of like bring in some creativity, some color or whatever. Like, but there was really none of that. Um, so then basically when I finished that course, I basically took a year out, worked some shitty job for like a couple of months, and then was preparing my portfolio to get into the design course, which I kind of stumbled upon that course when I was looking, maybe what to do next, and kind of found out that that course existed, and it wasn't actually too far from me as well. Like it was only in the city next to me, so which is really convenient.
I love that you went through a journey to get where you are today. You know, you didn't just like start and automatically have everything already laid out in front of you. You had to kind of go through this little journey to get here. So for you, when it comes to like actually designing something, where do you get your inspiration from for these pieces?
I think, I mean, there's inspiration all around you. Like, you just have to look look at Instagram. Really, I mean, I follow a lot of amazing artists. Um, they like like all of these artists when they post their pieces. That just kind of inspire. Like, that can go two ways. That either inspires me or just makes me feel like shit and like think to myself, what am I even doing? Like, but yeah, I try to take that as inspiration. All you have to do is just look around. Instagram is a great source. Then there's Behance, there's Pinterest, and yeah, I mean, even like talking to like a couple of my friends, not necessarily like talking about like art or anything, like even like discussing some ideas or whatever, like you get inspired, um or yeah, I'm not sure. Like, I mean, it's just like inspiration, like comes and goes. Like, it's a really weird thing. Some days you feel really inspired, some days you don't. It just comes and goes. I try not to kind of force it. If it doesn't come, I'll just kind of maybe take a day off and just relax. But if it does, it's an awesome feeling. Like when you're just working and like things happen, like things work out. Like it's such a great feeling.
Definitely. And when it comes to your like 3D art and your motion graphics and things like that, how did you get into that kind of world? Cuz graphic design and 3D art, they're like two totally
Yeah,
different worlds, you know? So
yeah, yeah,
so
yeah,
what made you get into that?
yeah. Yeah, I think when I was in college, actually, one of my classmates, he was kind of already doing like 3D. He was working with like Cinema 4D, the 3D application, and back then I was just looking at him and like thinking like, Jesus, how do you know all this stuff? I was like when he was working in that program, I was like so confused, like I didn't know anything about it at all, like. But I was really intrigued, like it really kind of stood out to me, and I always knew like 3D is there, like, but I never kind of like properly looked into it. Um, so I think like maybe like I got inspired by him to learn something. So I kind of one day I downloaded Cinema 4D and like kind of tried to mess around a bit and see what happens. And I think I quickly closed it down and then thought like, geez, that's not for me. Like so then I left it for a bit, but then I kind of tried again after a while. And basically followed like a couple of tutorials on YouTube and just literally tried to like copy what they do, and yeah, just try to kind of learn that software as good as I can. But yeah, man, I mean the main reason why I got into it was because I think just because of the endless possibilities. Like it's just such an amazing field, like, like to me, like looking back at like um, working in 2D, it just seems
Yeah.
boring. There's I mean, obviously you can make amazing things in 2D, and there's amazing artists that do amazing things. But to me, like looking back at it now, it's just boring. It's just limiting. With 3D, there's like just endless possibilities. You can make anything you want. And there's also great career opportunities. And to be honest, if if I wouldn't have transitioned into 3D, I don't think I'd be freelancing now, right now, if I'm being honest, because like all the jobs I get are 3D jobs. The stuff that I was doing before, like it just wouldn't cut it. I think.
Yeah, definitely. And I think one of my favorite pieces that I've seen of yours is your run piece, the dude with the gas mask running through the woods. It's
Yeah,
so cool, and like
yeah,
obviously it fits with the song so well. Like I when I'm not freelancing, I explore abandoned places, and that song is like notorious in the urban exploring community because
yeah,
like the
yeah,
cops
yeah,
show up, so you run. You know what I mean? Like it's
yeah,
it's awesome. So I
yeah.
really
That's
I
yeah.
really like connected with that piece a lot. Have you done like music videos or like anything like that in your freelancing world?
Yeah, I mean, I've worked on a couple of. I haven't done like a full music video just yet, but like well, kind of. I mean, um, the type of stuff I've worked on so far is basically like, let's say I do like a couple of 10 or 20 second loops and basically kind of like repeat them,
Mm,
so they fill up the whole song basically, so like 3 to 4 minutes, so it's kind of like a music video, I suppose, but I haven't done like a full kind of like each clip is unique, that kind of thing. I haven't done that yet, but yeah, I mean, I've worked on some longer pieces, yeah, but there's I think there's still a lot of projects that I need to kind of um work on, and kind of get under my belt.
yeah, for sure. And how did you find your worth, like your value? Like what do you charge people? Like how'd you figure that out? Was it something that you knew right off the bat, or did it take time for you to like evolve and find?
Yeah, definitely. Yeah, it definitely took a bit of time for that. I think a lot of that got influenced by a graphic designer, by a YouTuber called Chris Do. You might
Mm-hmm.
know him. He's from the future on YouTube. He's such an awesome dude, and I think a lot of graphic designers take inspiration from him, where he basically talks about value based pricing. So uh, just when I started off, kind of freelancing, or like actually before I started freelancing, I was mostly always working like per hour, which, like, looking back at it now, was such a huge mistake, because like I just don't think it's a good way of working, because um you can either spend too many hours on a piece, or you can spend too little hours
Mm,
on a piece, and then if you do a piece really quickly, you get paid less. So I always kind of work on like an agreed price beforehand. But obviously, I think the more you're working, the more experience you get, the more kind of comfortable you get, and the more you charge, obviously. And especially now lately, with the whole NFT thing going on, I rarely take on like, if any, client work at all. Like, for the past month, I haven't been taking on any client work at all. And even if I do, I've like doubled my prices, because it just at this stage, it just doesn't make sense anymore to work on client work with this whole NFT thing going around. Yeah.
And for the audience, what is an NFT?
Oh God, I don't think I'll be able to explain that, but I'll try my in the most simplest terms. An NFT is basically, it stands for a non-fungible token. So basically, it's a piece of art that you have. Um, you basically upload it to the blockchain, which is the Ethereum system, like crypto art system, whatever. I'm not going to explain that. So basically, you upload it to the blockchain, and it basically sits there as a token. So, and then what that means is no one will ever be able to replicate it, because it has like a unique code behind it. So once you upload it, you like that piece gets that single code, and that can all be traced back on the blockchain. So basically, no one can copy your work, no one can obviously people can download that piece and like save it on their computer and try to upload it as your work, but it's all going to come to light eventually, like because all these platforms, well, most of these platforms have quality control, and people will obviously people have obviously been caught out before a lot of times, and all you have to do is like contact an admin or something, and they'll take it on. But I like it hasn't been such a huge issue just yet, but there's definitely been some instances where people obviously try to steal people's work and try to sell it.
Yeah.
uh but yeah, I mean, yeah, basically NFTs are, you just upload your work on the blockchain, and then um you collectors or other artists can bid on your work and purchase your work straight away, and then once they purchase it, like that basically gets sent to their wallet, and then it just sits there forever until or until they sell it on to someone else, or until they do whatever.
So for NFTs, like, and all crypto art, does the value change and like adjust and go up and down like with the blockchain? Does it work that way? Like, a piece
Yeah.
can become more or
Yes.
less valuable over time?
Yeah. Yeah, exactly. So it's basically it's essentially the same as stocks.
Wow.
Like all cryptocurrencies go up and down. So um, one day, let's say you just have like a couple of Ethereums, like a cryptocurrency in your wallet. One day it could be worth 1K, then the next day it could be like 1.5K, then 2K. So it's really volatile. It goes up and down. But there's other ways of like kind of maybe keeping the whole thing stable. You can also buy like a stable coin called I think USDT was a stable
Hmm.
coin. You can basically transfer to that, and then that means it's just going to keep the same
Right.
value if that's what you want. But people just usually kind of like all the artists that I work with, we all mostly get paid in Ethereum because that's like kind of like the main currency within these platforms. And we all just keep the currency on our wallets. And yeah, I mean, it does get a bit volatile, and it does get a bit scary, especially for like new artists. They don't know like they don't know what's happening, like, and then one day it could be like going down so much, and then they start panicking and maybe even start selling. And if you sell, you basically lose.
Right.
So just don't sell it. Just leave it in, like, just hold for as long as you can, really. Or take some bit out if you really need it, like, but like most people just keep it in, and because it goes up eventually, like it goes up, like eventually it's still gonna go up and up and up, like it's only going up.
Yeah. And I mean, like, we could look at last week, like Ethereum went down, Bitcoin went down last week, and so everybody was freaking out, but I mean, it's going back up now. It's a very volatile
Yeah.
space, like you said, and I think people are still relatively new to all this stuff. Like, NFTs are still relatively new, and I'm just learning about it, and I'm just learning that like I could sell my photography on these platforms, which
Oh
which
yeah,
I
you
think is
can. Yeah,
super
for sure.
interesting, and I've got some pieces I
Yeah.
would love to throw up there. So it's just a super cool space. And what do you think it's gonna do in the long run for artists? Do you think it's gonna help them like value themselves even more?
I mean, I think it's already done a lot for the artists. Not I'm not the only one. Like, I'm kind of like, it's kind of slowly starting to change my life, really. Because like I mentioned, I'm not taking on any client work, so that definitely kind of frees up a lot of time, and it allows you to work on your own stuff and like kind of really instill some of that love that you originally had for creating art. But I know, I personally know a lot of artists that like literally have had their lives changed in the matter of days. They've been earning like hundreds of thousands
Wow.
in a matter of days, like, really. Yeah, it's just it's crazy, like, I mean, um if it keeps going like this, I mean, it's gonna be obviously amazing. But like, I mean, I'm still not trying to like kind of put all my eggs in one basket. Like, I mean, I'm not gonna like completely shut out client work, because just in case, if this whole thing does turn out to be just one big bubble. I mean, you kind of do need like a backup, but I think I'm just trying to like just ride the hype as long as I can, really, and just hope the space grows and becomes even bigger. And funny thing is, people still say that we're still early, that this is still just the beginning. So because like it still hasn't even reached public level, like the majority of the public doesn't even know what an NFT is. So it's only gonna get bigger and bigger and bigger, which is a crazy thing because it's already like in my eyes it's already
Yeah.
huge.
So what you're saying is you like artists should get in now rather than later.
Oh yeah, for sure. I mean, like even now, like me personally, like even now, I think getting in now is a bit too late. But that's just me, like because I got in last year in September, when like kind of when things started to blow up, and I've seen a lot, like I get like a ton of messages every single day from like artists on Instagram to follow me, asking about NFTs and like asking for help or any insights or how to like get on these platforms. And I've noticed that like it's getting super difficult to get on these
Mm.
platforms. Like last year it was a lot easier. They were really kind of accepting almost everyone, but like right now it's getting like really tough, unless your work like really stands out and is amazing. I mean, I like there's small chances, like but I mean there's a lot of platforms out there. There's a lot of possibilities to sell stuff and make good money, but you just kind of got to keep pushing. Like if you don't get in, just try another platform. There's plenty of them around.
Mm-hmm. Absolutely. And can you walk me through the process of like uploading your work, just like how that goes? Like, because I know you upload your piece, then you have to like pay a fee, and then you have to like
Yeah.
like just take me through the process real quick.
Yeah, so basically it's kind of the same process as like you just take your physical file, let's say an image or an MP4. You basically go onto the platform, you log in, and you basically upload the file. Then you put in like a description, a title, and funny thing is, obviously, like you have to double check the title and the description that everything's perfect, because like once it gets uploaded, it can be changed. That's the negative of the blockchain. Once it's up, you can't really edit it. So then basically, yeah, you put in the title, description, you upload it, and then you pay a fee, which is basically the gas fee for the blockchain to work. Um, and that's another kind of negative of the blockchain, are the fees, obviously, especially for like younger artists or people that are just trying to get into the scene. I mean, the gas fees can be horrible. Like someday, like I think the biggest gas fee I've paid so far was like 250
Jesus.
euros just to yeah, just to upload
Oh
one
my
piece.
god, dude.
Yeah, it's crazy. Yeah. Right. I think right now they're like $50 or something, so that's really good. But I think generally around $100, that's considered cheap
Hmm.
right now. Yeah.
So do
But
you think
I think
do you
I
think
think
that's
like,
gonna go up as well?
oh yeah, for sure. Yeah, like the more popularity Ethereum is gonna get, the more the gas fees are gonna go up. But I think there's a new thing coming called Ethereum 2.0, which kind of everybody is waiting for. Like, don't ask me the details. I don't know what that means, but apparently, Ethereum 2.0 is gonna, make things a bit more efficient. They're gonna reduce also the negative impact, uh, the CO2 emissions, and also make the whole thing faster, and also probably reduce the fees by a good bit. So hopefully that will come soon, but no one really knows when it's gonna come. So we just have to wait and hope it happens soon.
Fantastic, man. Well, hey, thank you for coming on the podcast. If people want to keep following your journey, if they want to commission a piece from you, or if they want to see where they can get your NFTs, can you drop your like social media or your website right now?
Yeah, so my if you want to find me, you can just find me as Rolzay. So it's Rolzay. If you just type it in Google, like hopefully everything should come up like it should come up. Yeah, and same thing on Instagram. My Instagram is Mr. Rolzay, and if you want to email me, yeah, you can just find it on my website, or it's just hello@rolzay.com. And yeah, that's it.
All right, guys, that was my podcast with Mr. Rolzay. Loved this episode. Loved talking about NFTs. It was super fascinating to learn more about this stuff. If you guys are trying to get into the space, hopefully this episode helped you out with that. I'm definitely looking to talk to more 3D artists, 4D artists, graphic designers, photographers that are getting into NFTs, because I personally want to start selling some of my photography as NFTs. I think it would be super cool and could be super critical for the future of my artwork. So thank you guys for listening to another week of Project Freelance. Please do me a favor and leave a rating and feedback if you liked the show. And I will talk to you next week. Stay strong, keep enduring, go out and go create something.